I like to fidget.
Shh, Katie, we're starting the show. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. This is look, you have Katie Marcotte on the show and everything's gonna get screwed up. I love it. We're off to a great start. Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona, where it's hot. But the only thing hotter than Phoenix right now is this show. I ain't even gonna lie. We are gonna get spicy up in here today because this industry is disgusting, and I'm not going to stand for it. These ladies aren't going to stand for it. I'm sure they represent many other opinions of some ladies that won't stand for it, and I know there's men that are going to back them up on this too. So Katie brought it to my attention that she's had some negative experiences at the trade shows over the past couple of years. Not everywhere, but definitely certain areas. We're not going to throw anyone directly under the bus, but this is an issue that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. And these other wonderful women joining me have also had some negative experiences. So I want to be able to let them voice their concerns and what they see happening, why they think it's happening, what can be done about it, and then what the industry can do to help alleviate it, where people can step up and really help women have a better voice in the industry, because it's apparently not being heard that they're here and they're installers and they should be respected as such. And there's absolutely no difference between them and the male counterparts in the industry. So we're gonna get into that. I want to let you know that Floor Academy is here every week to be your source to move your business 1% forward towards being an asset. I don't want anyone to own a job. It's pointless to own a job. Go be an hourly employee if you want to own a job, right? Like, own something that's going to free up your time, make you successful in the way you determine successful, and make your life easier to run as opposed to harder. So every week we're having the conversations for you to be able to implement little golden nuggets from the people that we interview, and you apply those. You start having more free time to be able to go and do the things that you enjoy, which is actually why you started a business, and not for it to take over your life like most of us are in the position of now. If you can please leave a review, that would be great. I know there's like 1,000 of you that are subscribed on Apple Podcasts. I'm going to be honest, I got 34 reviews. So there's like 960 of you that haven't left a review. If you could leave me a review, I'd very much appreciate it. It does a lot for the show and where it shows up in the ranks and getting it exposed to other people. So it's obviously helping you. If you can help it help others, I'd very much appreciate that. Thank you to our sponsors. We will hear some words from them a little later in the show. And I think that'll do it. So we're going to start by introducing everybody. I have four wonderful women with me today. We will start with Katie Marcotte, returning guest. Thank you for coming again. But real quick, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
My name is Katie Marcotte. I own Maine Modern Tile in Otisfield, Maine, with my partner Eric, also an installer. I'm also wait for this. I got to read it because it's kind of long. I'm also the Region 1 Director and a national and local ambassador for the National Tile Contractors Association. That's a mouthful.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. And Jennifer Barker, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
I am Jennifer Barker. I own and help run Bathmatic Custom Tile and Shower with my husband. I'm also a tile installer,
Okay.
and I love what we do.
Excellent. You and your husband were fun. I enjoyed meeting you both at coverings.
Thank
Ashley
you.
Singer.
Hey, Kyle. Thanks for having me. My name is Ashley Singer, and I run a company called Tile John, located in Chester County, just outside of Philadelphia. So I own and operate, so I am an installer, and I offer residential tile, LVP flooring, and design services in the area, and I've been in business since 2021. I came into this industry out of necessity. I was a single homeowner in 2014, and I had no clue how to do anything. I ran into some customers while I was bartending at a brewery locally. They were general contractors. We became friends. a few weeks after that, they invited me to their team. They said, if you don't want to be here anymore, you can join us. So I left and joined 90 by 180 Contracting, run by Mike English, and he offered me an apprenticeship position. I was there for a year and a half, and the rest is history. I started my own business, and here I am today, loving it. So.
Excellent. And Jennifer Blumer.
Jennifer Blumer. My husband and I own Legacy Bath and Tile here in Columbia, Missouri. I run the retail side. He's an installer. And we do what we do because we love tile.
Excellent. Love to hear it. All right. So Katie, you brought this to my attention, so I'll have you kind of start us off here, and then we'll start getting opinions from the other ladies, and we'll just kind of go in a round table format. But you called me up and you weren't too happy. So what is going on, and why are you upset?
Well, should I just start like in general, not a specific story? Okay.
We're not going to throw anyone directly under the bus. If you want to use stories, we're just going to leave company names out, but let it be known that there's probably companies that there's some women that aren't happy with you, and you're losing business and ruining your reputation. That's how I'll put it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, the online groups are very welcoming for the most part, so start going to shows and everything. And the industry was super welcoming, all the parties and everything. And then, it comes to the point where I actually get to the show floor. And after, I think like the third show, I'm starting to realize like I'm standing at these booths for sometimes 10, 15 minutes, like trying to speak and just being totally looked over as new guys flood in and everything. And I'm like, am I here? And then, I come back later with a couple guy friends or my husband or whatever, and they're more than happy to talk and have more time than ever, to go over things. And just as I keep going to shows, I've become a little more well-known. So I started wondering, are other new women facing this? Because I'm still dealing with it at booths where people may not know me already, but it doesn't happen as often. But is it getting better, or do just more people know me? Which is it? So I started, asking a few ladies, and I met one of the ladies here, and it wasn't probably not even 30 seconds into walking with her or knowing her, I watched her get pretty insulted on the show floor at a booth, like being totally shocked that she installed, and, then asking how many men actually installed for her, blah, blah, blah. So I just thought, maybe manufacturers might be brought to, some level of awareness that you're still really looking over women, even ones specifically asking about your products, because it is still happening.
Well, and intelligently. All of you are qualified to be able to go in and have a conversation intelligently about the products being used, where they're used, how they're used. And apparently they can't. Reps that you're dealing with aren't understanding that.
Yes, a lot of the times I really feel like they don't think that. I mean, I can speak technically to a lot of products because I've used them and everything. And I really think a lot of them still don't believe that, that they're dealing with an installer. I'll talk to somebody in the, like I said, I'll be walking around with some guy friends or my husband. And I've had it happen at more than a few booths where I spoke technically to the person for a good while about their product. And then at the end, they asked every guy that was with me if they wanted, what size shirt do you wear? And I'm standing there waiting to say my shirt size, and they turn around and walk away. I'm like, oh.
Cute. Very respectful of people that are, wanting to buy your product and showing interest, and then you get completely ignored. Now, granted, we did just have somebody make a post in the groups about, hey, like, if you could have some small or medium-sized T-shirts, that would be great. And that's a constant problem that even I face, because Look, folks, I can only use so many t-shirts. I appreciate the manufacturers putting them out there. I truly do. I can only wear so many t-shirts. I got 2 kids and I got a wife. If I could put clothes on them for free, look, I'm frugal. I'm going to do it. Except nothing ever fits them because it's always for men, like large and above. But hey, we're going to work on it. We're going to grow.
Fortunately, that's not the case with me. I don't need a small shirt.
Now, who is it that you ran into and were walking the show floor and saw this happen to rather quickly?
Miss Singer, actually.
Okay. So Ashley, let's hear from you. So if I recall, this was your first show, or am I wrong?
Yeah, this was my first Tile and Stone trade show, and first covering event. But I will say that I come from a food and beverage industry, and it's also run by lots of old white men, to put it frankly, and I've experienced the same situation over and over again in other industries as well, but this one in particular, it's the most recent, so I guess it's the most fresh feeling. And after Katie had talked to me about like what she had experienced and asked me how I felt, it made me kind of want to talk a little more about it.
So, once again, without throwing anyone directly under the bus, like what happened?
I mean, it's all of my stories that I'll share today are just about how, I was kind of undermined and people were in disbelief that I'm an actual tile installer. In this particular issue, I think someone was trying to get us to come into the booth when we were going to step out for a little bit. And he started talking about all this new software technology available to run payroll and tile and yada, yada, yada. I guess thinking that maybe I'm some kind of admin or anything like that. And I'm like, listen, hey, I'm going to step out. I appreciate your sales pitch, but I just don't have the time for it right now. And he's like, oh, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a tile installer. He's like, no way. Really? In disbelief. And it pissed me off. So
I can't blame you. Look, there's a lot of really great women installers that are currently actively involved, at least in the online groups and showing up to events and stuff. And this should not be phasing people. Once again, it's 2023. The fact that women are in the trades is nothing new. They've been here for years, and it shouldn't really be surprising. And if they can come up and have a competent conversation with you, or at least ask the right questions, why are you being overlooked? So it doesn't, I don't understand where it comes from. There's no reason for it, in my opinion. To keep us moving, I appreciate you, the insights. We're going to just keep kind of going around here. So, Jennifer Blumer, what has your experience been?
Well, I'll preface by we have been going to these trade shows for 10 years because we've had our business for that long, either on the installer side or the retail side. The first few years when we only went as an installer, I felt like I was ignored because I was a wife and a tag along, even though I usually am in 90%, discussion about how money is spent with tools and et cetera. As coming into the retail side, when we opened our retail side, I noticed this year they were a little more aggressive about catching up with people and getting their name badges scanned. And I got some questions actually answered. So I felt like on the tile side, they were a little more receptive because I don't dress up like a salesperson. I'm in the warehouse half the time. I'm on the showroom floor half the time. So I wear jeans and a t-shirt just like anybody else to the conferences because heels are not comfortable to walk in 9 hours a day.
I don't want to find out from firsthand experience, but I believe you.
So I felt like there was a little bit more warmer reception this year with the retail side of the tile side, but I did have one day that I forgot my badge, and and I didn't have it, and they let me in anyway, which I guess is shocking. But I did not have one person ask me if they could help me or show me what was going on at their booth. So that was a little disappointing after I'd had a couple of days of good experience. But I have
Interesting.
noticed that at the tile booths, you don't get, or at the tool booths, you don't get as much attention if you're not with a male counterpart of some kind.
I don't. Your money's green, right? Like, I'm not mistaken. Like, you all have green money too, or plastic that swipes. I don't. I don't get it. You're sitting there asking questions, and yet okay. Manufacturers, distributors, at least on the tool side, you gotta step it up and educate your folks here and bring them into the 21st century. Yeah, I don't even know what century we're in, folks. I can't count. We're gonna figure it out. 21st. All right, Jennifer Barker, you have been, you were there, and you and your husband. Were you guys apart a lot, or were you kind of like tagging along, going everywhere together?
Yeah, most of the time.
Okay. So what was that like?
I kind of shared like the same experience as Jennifer Blumer. Like they just kind of seen me as like his tag along. And then when they would look at me and go, "Well, why are you here?" And I'm like, "Because I'm the installer." And their mouths would kind of drop open wide, like they couldn't believe that I was the person who would actually lay the tile.
I mean, can we, like, your husband's really like good-hearted about all of this. Is this when he just like raises up? It's his left hand, right?
Yeah.
Is this when he raises up his left arm and he's like, "Yeah, she's the installer"? Like, does he get smart ass with him, or what's happening?
He does. He does.
Okay.
So that's the good thing. Like he constantly lifts me up and makes sure that he lets people know that no, I work my ass off.
He's so for folks that don't know, Jeremy's missing his left hand. So
Yeah.
there's an arm all the way down to the wrist, essentially. But can he set tile? Probably. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. Do they make a good team? I can only assume so because they're still rocking it. So, it's sad that they immediately just go to the man and assume that you're there, or like an accessory.
Oh yeah. Wouldn't even acknowledge me until he introduced me. Well, this is my wife Jennifer. We work together. Well, what do? Do you work in the office? No, I'm the installer.
And how much does that change the conversation, or were they still turned off by it?
A couple were. It was like they were still so shocked that a woman was the one who was installing the tile. But then a couple were like, "Oh wow, really? That's amazing." So I kind of had mixed reviews, but it was kind of disheartening at first because it was my first covering show.
Mm-hmm. Which sucks, and it's not a coverings management problem, not and it's not. It's very isolated. I think, at least from what I'm seeing, is there's certain boosts that you're going to and experiencing this. Jennifer Blumer said that it's not necessarily the tile manufacturers. It seems to be that it's more relegated in this realm of the tools and those manufacturers than other areas. Is anyone having these issues at any of the like product manufacturers, like the actual like setting materials and all of that stuff, or do they seem to be on the up and up, and it just anybody can jump in?
Before everybody, not everybody knows me, but before I was more well known, yes, absolutely, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to fight to talk to somebody. There's a couple manufacturers who definitely have that stuff under control. Like their employees have definitely been trained on that, I think. But yeah, before I got into the groups and people really knew me, yeah, talking about new uncoupling products coming out by not the same old people that have been doing it for a while, but talking about new ones that were being sold there and everything. So now it's not just tools.
Okay. But it's more on the installation side than the retail side. Is that what we're finding?
I've never had that experience with actual like people selling tile.
Okay. So
Kyle, I don't remember, sorry, I'm going to butt in real quick. I don't remember which booth it was at, but I had somebody ask me if they could see my hands so that they could look for calluses on my hands to see if I was an actual installer. Now, mind you, we were talking about this earlier, so I'll call it out now. I was wearing this shirt. It says tile installer, and I made this shirt. I had it made. It's part of my brand. It's on my business card, okay? And I did it as Captain Obvious to be like, hey, can I be more literal than this? Like, I'm an installer. I matter. And to have somebody ask to jokingly see my hands, it was very off-putting. Mm-hmm. And I usually tend to, like, overcompensate by bringing up tons of technical knowledge that I have in installing. So I'll ask something specific about uncoupling membranes or about leveling clips or whatever it is that I'm looking at. I try to, like, you know, use that knowledge to say, hey, like, I do know what I'm doing. And then that just, like, gets in my head and I get pissed off on the inside because I'm like, I shouldn't have to do that. Like, I don't think another man would walk up to another man at a trade show and ask to see their freaking hands in order to prove or disprove what they do for a living. And I wear gloves, so my hands actually look pretty damn good.
Hey, well, look, it shouldn't happen because everybody knows, well, people that know me when I go up to a booth, it's hey, how you doing, right? Like, everyone kind of knows that Kyle has an agenda, and most people don't try and pitch me anything. Like, I can ask about new products or I can get informed because I like to keep on the up and up of what's going on. But most people know that I'm not a tile installer when I show up at a booth at something like that, at least on the tool and you know, product manufacturer side. But if I have the conversation, I want to learn something, like, I don't get ignored. And if there's anybody you ignore, then the guy that is out, you know, slinging plastic installs should probably be the guy that gets ignored, not women that are actually doing the trade day in and day out and making it happen and be successful. And so it just doesn't, why does it matter who shows up as opposed to, you know, what does gender, what does sex have to do with any of it? It doesn't. You're showing up, you're asking questions, you're interested. Why is anybody withholding the information or treating you differently or looking over you? Because I have a feeling that it probably is one of those things where, like, they'll engage with you if you get their attention, but then are the eyes darting around looking for that next person coming in that may be a male to be like, oh, hey, 1 second, like, I got to go over here and do this thing.
Totally, yeah. I mean, it happened in a one-on-one conversation where myself and another female installer were sitting after one of, like, the side speakers. It was one of those, like, side meeting rooms, and we wanted to talk to the speaker and get some feedback and ideas on that specific industry of tile that they work in. And we're having a conversation, and of course, like, you can tell through body language when somebody else wants to join in on a conversation. And obviously, with being a key speaker, you know, you want to respect their time and everything. But another man came up and literally stepped in front of me and turned his back toward me to have a conversation while we were mid-sentence talking to a speaker, and then just stole the conversation and left. And I don't know if it's gender related. I tend to, of course, be a little biased, but to me, I just can't see that scenario happening if it were male-on-male conversations. Mm-hmm. So,
okay. Either Jennifer or Katie have experiences like this where you feel that you're just being, like, literally overlooked, or they're looking for that next person that's of, you know, more important value?
Oh, of course. So before coverings, I decided that I was going to go get my nails done because I'd never get them done because my hands always look like trash. And so I had several men look at my hands and was like, well, your hands are too pretty. What does that mean?
What?
Are you kidding me?
So you can't do nice things for yourself every once in a while. Okay, cool. So we have to all be really just traditional blue collar slobs, no matter what. Got
Oh,
noted.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to speak on the slob thing, when I installed carpet, I had heels. I had like knees on my knuckles and I had a heel here, like I had gross hands. Tile doesn't rough up your hands that much if you wear gloves. Like my hands are, well, they're wrinkly because I'm old, but I mean otherwise, like tile does not make my hands rougher. Like maybe that's a commercial tile thing or something, but like it's taken a couple years for the carpet, like to not know that I ever did carpet again. But
Mhm.
I'm just that's what's such a weird thing with tile, like because we wear gloves, we don't want to end up with like cement poisoning and can't handle it anymore in our later years that we must not install. That's the weirdest thing.
Well, look, maybe women traditionally use lotion more, right? So compared to men who are sticking their hands in the water all day and not doing anything about it, like sure, can you have rougher hands? Maybe, but there's men that use like the O'Keeffes and other stuff to make their hands not so disgusting from just being dried out from the water. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It's something so ridiculous, but I want to draw attention to it because it's not just about you being able to voice what's going on and bring it to the attention of places out there that, hey, there's people that need to be treated better. But I think it also comes down to awareness for men in the industry. If you're at a booth and you see this happening, stand up and say something for these ladies. There's absolutely no reason for them to be treated as a second class citizen or like they don't know what they're doing or that they don't belong because they had a week off from having to install and they wanted to go get a pedicure like or manicure. Like big deal, right? Oh, I want to feel pretty. Well, look, I like feeling pretty. I got a haircut and shaved before I went because I wanted to feel pretty. But nobody's commenting or acting weird about any of that. It doesn't make any sense. So
Well, I've looked like garbage at plenty of shows, and it didn't help my case. Look, I'm showing up at like like last minute flying in, hair out, like the big hair not cut or anything. That didn't help my case either. But I share my level story?
yeah, let's hear your level story. Actually, give me we're gonna do that in just a minute. We'll cut to commercial break here a little early, and then we'll come back and you can share your level story. All right. Go board is engineered for durability, yet up to 80% lighter than cement boards. Easy to cut and handle, it can be cut on site, right where it's installed, using a basic utility knife without crumbling or disintegrating. Best of all, the waterproofing is built in. Go board half-inch thick, 48 by 64-inch panels are now available. Ask your supplier to bring it on for you. Visit www.jm.com/go board for more information. Introducing the ultimate solution for flooring contractors, a cloud-based virtual estimating software. Get accurate and detailed estimates in minutes without ever leaving the job site or even the office. With features like real-time collaboration, project management tools, and automatic material calculations, you'll have the information you need to close deals faster and more efficiently than ever before. Try it today and experience the future of flooring estimating. Check out the link in the show notes to demo the program or visit estimates.flooracademypod.com. All right, Katie, what is this level? What's your level story?
My infamous level story. Well, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't share it because it's a good story and it's a story of spite probably, but a couple, I think three installer friends and I were traveling around the show, and we come around to this tool booth that sells levels. And so I walk up to the guy all excited. My three friends were male. So I walk up to the guy and, I get overexcited, but I'm like, oh my goodness, I've seen these online. Everybody loves them. Like I've always wanted some and I don't know where to buy them. And his enthusiasm was so underwhelming. He's like, you probably could look it up online, like go to our website. And I was like, okay. So, we were kind of in a line and I ran up first, of course, because I'm like, oh, these levels. And so all three guys go and like he hands them all these little cute little keychain levels and everything. And he's talking to them. And he says to the three guys, he goes, just to let you guys know, we're running a special on levels here this week. It's like $130 for a 3-piece level set. It's a pretty good deal. And I'm like, listening as he's telling them and thinking, did I not just ask where I could buy those levels? So I went literally to the end of the line and he looks up because the other guys like look at all the stuff. They're getting ready to walk away. And he looks up at me again, like, what? And I was like, I want to buy a level. And he's like, here? I'm like, didn't you just say there was a special? And he's like, well, yeah. Like, I would like to buy them, please. So I bought them. And I was just joking before this chat started. I have never used them. And I may never, ever use them or that brand ever again. But I bought them because I said I wanted them. And at that point, I was just going to make that guy sell me some levels.
Which you did.
That's the level story. Yes.
But, I don't know that here's the thing, right? Look, my house, we had a really bad experience with a painting company. The house was painted like 12 years ago. I still tell everyone not to use that painting company. Because they were disrespectful to my wife. They did a horrible job. I specifically called up and I said, hey, you need to come back and fix some things, but don't send that crew back. They were not respectful to my wife. I don't want them in my house. Neither does she. Who do they send? They send that crew back. So I call and I have to complain again. And oh, well, that's company policy. I was like, I don't care about policy. I'm telling you, they can't be in my house. And so it was a bad situation. But I can only assume that many, many people have heard this level story in its entirety and know the company and probably have said, oh, well, okay, I won't support them anymore.
I don't know. I don't know about that. They're pretty nice levels.
I mean, doesn't really matter if there's other great levels on the market. I'm sure there's more than one company out there.
Well, right. Absolutely. I've definitely found other good products. Yeah, no, there's definitely one tool company that I've tried with 5 shows now, and I didn't even bother visiting the last show, and I will never buy tools ever from them. Very popular tool company, and I never ever will, and a manufacturer that I won't too. So it does affect that, and we're only a 2-person company, but between materials and tools, we're easily spending $30,000 a year. So I guess maybe our 30,000 just isn't that important.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is, okay, so sadly, what percentage of the industry do women make up? Look, we get it. It's very small. That doesn't excuse it, okay? Just because their market share doesn't pull the weight of everybody else in the industry. It's not an excuse to take somebody out of the market because to me, I don't know who you know, or what your influence is, or what you control. So Jennifer Blumer, you can weigh in here, right? Because you're at least running a retail shop where you have some purchasing power, especially if it's more than just you and your husband and there's some other crews involved. You're going to move a little bit. You're going to have more buying power. But what if somebody from, let's say like there's a major buyer from CCA Global going around, right? They own Carpet One. And they're going around to these booths and they're a woman and they're being ignored because they're a woman on the showroom floor. Well, now you just lost out on millions of dollars in sales because you're going to ignore somebody because of their sex. Like that seems really, really stupid to me because wouldn't you rather make a sale and have a good experience than have a negative experience where people are going to continue to talk about it and bring it up, because that's what you do with a negative experience. It's 10 times worse than a good review. So Jennifer Blumer, do you have anything that kind of backs that up? Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't have a personal experience, but I would say Katie hit the nail on the head when she asked me about you have more buying power than your husband, because I'm going to be buying for multiple installers or to stock something that multiple installers are going to purchase. So I've had some slight experience with trying to get something ordered after the show, that because I wasn't my husband who they had talked to and taken the badge information, I had just contacted them through the website or through the email, that they were like, oh, did we see you at Coverings? And I'm like, well, I wasn't over there. My husband was, but he told me to order this. And they were like, oh, well, I don't know what deal we offered them. So I'm like, well, what deal did you offer? What deal can you offer me? Because I'm going to display it in my showroom. And it was kind of a wishy-washy thing about, because they hadn't talked to me at Coverings and they didn't want to give me the deal. And I'm like, well, I'm going to put it up in my showroom and I'm going to display it. And there's probably 20 guys that are going to see it. So if you want me to sell one, you need to help me out here.
How absurd, right? Okay, so they talk to your husband. So now you have to waste time in your business running it to get him on the phone, to bring him over, to have the conversation of like, you talk to me, here's my info, pull it up. Can I get the deal now? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can just talk to her and accomplish this without me. And it's just a waste of everybody's time to get business done and completely unproductive. I wish I had an explanation. I do. I wish I could apologize for everybody and tell you why it has to be this way, but I don't. And I don't know what to do other than give you all this platform to at least address it, and hopefully they listen. I know there's some manufacturers that listen. I know there's some corporate people that listen and get involved. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the people that are around you need to stand up and recognize this and say something when they see it at a booth. And just, hey, no, I don't know why you're talking to me. You were over there with her. Like, go finish that conversation, do your thing, treat them with respect. Like, they're going to be a very valuable person if you invest in them.
Kyle.
Yes.
It's Ashley. I just want to chime in real quick.
Yeah.
I think that, of course, there's like gender bias, and there needs to be like a big mentality shift, not just in this industry, but in the world overall. There's a lot of inequality going on. But in the tile world specifically, I'm not just an installer. I'm the one going and getting clients and leads. And everybody probably already knows this, but most of the decision makers in the consumer world are women. And we differentiate ourselves by going into a client's house, and the first thing that I hear is, I hired you because I have 3 daughters. I hired you because you're a woman and I want to support women doing this. So we should be seen in this industry as an asset, because I think, of course, like, it's important that men stay in this industry, and I'm not trying to say hate on men. I love you guys, but I think there's a huge opportunity to sell even more products because we can relate to the decision maker in homes.
I couldn't agree more. So what? It's last week was the end of March. If you go back to the last episode of March, folks, there was an interview with Diane Grossman, the carpet girl. It was really good. We actually discussed just this. So she saw an article at one point where it was like, 95% of the decision makers in for flooring are women, but 90% of the salespeople are men. Look, it's really intimidating to have a man come in your house when you're stay at home mom, or you're just single woman and you're letting a strange man into your house. It's hard when you're being mansplained to. There's a lot of different areas that we can improve on. But yes, I 100% believe that you are more successful and win projects because you are a female installer, and you are going to not only connect with the potential client more at a consultation, but you can put them at ease. You probably actually listen and address their concerns as opposed to trying to sell something on a technical basis. And so the whole process is most likely way more friendly to them than what they're getting from a lot of other companies with male salesmen. I do not doubt that for a second. And I think that's something that definitely needs to be addressed and looked at, is how are we actually handling it's not just about you guys being able to go to a show and be treated with respect, but we have to treat the clients with respect as well. There's a lot of training that needs to happen on this.
Yeah, I mean, it happens like with other contractors in the field too, as I'm sure you've already talked about. But like the other day, I had a general contractor come onto my job site as I was installing a tile backsplash, and he asked me if I did this as a hobby.
Yes, full time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That's my hobby. Like, I would have to come up with some kind of a smart ass answer for that.
That's a good one. I wish I would have said that. Darn it.
Well, and so here's the I don't usually interrupt us with comments that are being put in the live, but Dawn Marie Suter brings up a good point. She says there's no diplomatic way to handle these slights. We unfortunately typically have to choose between being too sensitive or too bitchy. It seems there is no reliable middle ground when standing up for ourselves. Is that, do you all relate to that sentiment, that if you bring something up, then, oh, well, now you're being catty and bitchy, or you're too sensitive and you can't handle it, and this is a man's industry and you got to suck it up, buttercup?
Exactly. Grow a pair of balls is what you'll be told.
Sadly, most of the women...
Except when you do, then you're a bitch, yes.
Most of the women I know have bigger pairs of balls than the men. I'm not even going to lie. Like, you would put us to shame. And so it's sad that that's the case, right? Oh, well, I stood up for myself, so now I'm being bitchy. But if I start crying or get emotional because that's just like a thing that happens to me because of the way I'm made, now I'm too sensitive and I shouldn't be here because that's not acceptable behavior. No, I just process things differently and let me get to where I need to be, and we'll get it done. Go ahead, Katie.
I love Dawn's comment because it honestly is, this is what we're doing right now. Like, how many people probably are watching this going, oh, Jesus, like somebody ignored him at a tool booth, But this is literally what this is about for me, is a call to action to larger companies. You already spend X amount of dollars training employees. The employees at your booths just need to be trained properly to not do that shit. And honestly, we can get way bitchier because we can start recording our interactions and compile a video. Like, we could do that. We could get real bitchy. So, how hard is it in your budget with your trainings and your sales anyways to incorporate that into your training? Like, by the way, women have been working in the trade since World War II. So, maybe we should incorporate that to not be shocked and maybe not to talk over people. Maybe when a woman is interested in a snapper, you can go over it with her instead of literally like shuffling her out of the way. So you can show a couple guys walking by that don't even seem to have any interest in it. Like, just really, and there are, with that said, there are several manufacturers and booths, not only that are totally not like that, that are full of guys. There are also some with women. I had one very positive experience actually with a pretty large manufacturer that has a really awesome lady social media person that works for the company. And she was kind of, I think we've never discussed it, but I was pretty sure she was watching me kind of be ignored by 3 sales guys talking over this product. And I stood behind them for like, I think at least 5 minutes while they all talked about their own product. And I was like, respectfully, distance, but close enough to know that I intended to ask, would like to talk about the product. And I could kind of see her in the booth, and she kept taking like a couple steps closer and a couple steps closer and a couple steps closer. Then I started talking about a new product line they had. And she was like right next to me. And, she was like, yes, you need to talk to her about that, because I was talking technically about it. Asking some R&D questions. She's like, you really should write that stuff down because she knows her stuff, whatever. So some companies are doing it right. They are paying attention. So, this isn't to bash everybody, but if you're wondering if it's you, maybe go over a little retraining with your salespeople is all.
I think it's a great idea, right? It's diversity, inclusion. They should all be addressed. It's stuff that I hate to say it, but even I've been given crap for doing episodes like this, and I've been told that it doesn't need to be addressed. And look, I don't care if you want to identify as a potato. You can identify as a potato. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what your pronouns are. You can have any of that. I can respect that. I don't have to agree with it, but I can, like, you be you. Okay. And so I've been told that, like, I'm too liberal, and I was just like, that's the funniest statement I've ever heard. Because look, just because I draw attention to it's absurd. There's just, you have to treat people with a minimal amount of respect, and this is somewhere that lies in this minimal amount of respect thing for me. There's absolutely no reason that someone that's qualified, does a great job, can have an intelligent conversation about it, should be ignored when they walk up to your booth. And so your staff definitely needs to be trained. If you're worried that it's you, I specifically asked them not to name manufacturers. So they're all here. I'm sure they would more than happy have a conversation with you in private and do whatever, give you all the info you would like. But we're not going to just throw everybody under the bus, because it's not, well, it is specific to some people. It's not specific, as Ashley brought up. I could go to a trade show for paint. I could go to a trade show for drywall and probably experience all of these same things. And so it's just something that needs to be addressed in general. So Kathy Case left a comment too, and she says, Thursday afternoon, I was walking through the floor of coverings with another woman who has the same longevity in the industry as myself. I watched people glance up, give us the once over, and return their eyes back to whatever was on the internet. Between the two of us, we have over 85 years experience. So they're knowledgeable. They know what's going on. They're interested in what things are, and yet just nobody wants to engage, which is a shame, because what are you missing on by not interacting with somebody that has 40 plus years of connections and time in the industry? And now you can't pitch your product to them and get in front of them.
Or as you said before, who is she connected to?
Correct. Who does she know? Exactly.
That's a big mistake.
She's got a lot of connections, and probably the other woman probably does as well. And yet now you've got nothing. And once again, I'm going to remember those interactions more than I remember the good ones.
Do you think some men are intimidated by women in the field? Like, do you think it's just, like overcompensating or minimizing because they feel like we could actually be doing a good job?
I think that's a lot of it. A lot of the products that women put out are better than what the men are putting out. Your attention to detail is better. Your time management is better. I would gladly hire a female over a male to do something in this industry, like any day of the week. Everything being the same, I would probably pick the female. Now, granted, I won't hire a female as long as it's only her and I working, but that's out of respect to my wife, is that I would not put myself in that situation. I also wouldn't want to go into a vacant home with only a female in this day and age. That's just not a smart decision on my part. So I have other reservations, but if I were to hire like a 2 female crew, I wouldn't think twice about it. I wouldn't think twice if I had a third party there to, as somebody that's just there to make it happen. Like, sure. So yeah, I think men are intimidated. I think that they're small minded. I think that happens just with the men in the groups, right? Somebody can post something and I've been doing it this way 20 years. I've never had a call back. That they got to get in the biggest pissing matches over the stupidest nonsense because there's testosterone involved and I got to be the best and I have to be right and all. It's ridiculous. And so I do think that there is some of that, like you said, in that it probably makes them uncomfortable because here's somebody generally smaller, moving all the same stuff around and doing it well, maybe charging higher rates, getting more clients, getting better clients. There's some of that. I can almost guarantee it. Why? I don't know. Why? Shit, Ashley, how do I relate more to a woman in a household, right? Like that's the question to go ask you, not getting mad about it. How are you selling so well? What's your secret? What kind of questions do you ask? What do you pay attention? There's a whole conversation in that, but we can't even get to that because I have to be angry that I'm not doing it.
Oh, can I
Yeah,
chime in on
please.
that?
Yes.
Okay, so when my husband first started sharing our work on social media, you would not believe the amount of men in those groups that would comment and say, "Oh, thanks for getting your wife in there for a picture real quick," because I didn't have mortar all over me and because the job site was so clean. There was no way that she was the one who was laying the tile.
Yep. It's the joke. I'm sure all of you know Chanel, right? And so the joke is that Chanel does it so clean, like it can't be her, right? But no, she's just that clean and she's that good. Jamin helps Chanel, Jeremy helps you.
Yeah,
this is
my
what's
helper.
happening. Correct.
Yeah, I have a male helper.
Hey, good. They're probably learning a lot more because
But the thing is,
you're
when
holding
you're at a
them to
job
higher
site,
level.
I know, yeah. But like when you're at a job site with multiple other contractors that have never worked with you before, I kind of like subbed as a GC once at a job site, and everybody kept on going up to Marlon, my partner, asking, "Hey, what do I do about this? What do I do about this?" And over again, he's like, "You have to talk to La Jefa. She's the boss, not me." And I'm like, "Thank you, honey. Like, thank you, Marlon. That's so nice of you." He's like, "I got you. Don't worry." So we need more men in the field and to like support us and call it out when it's wrong. And I think on the Facebook groups and stuff like that, it's changing a lot. I'm seeing it, but it's, still got its own issues.
Hey, look, we're men, okay? We don't even realize when you're hitting on us. So you just keep beating us with the pot and eventually, something's going to happen upstairs and we'll get it. But no, you bring up a really interesting point. I'm going to screw up her name. I hope I don't. Sarah Thalen is a GC out of like Oklahoma or something. And so she had someone walk up and be like asking like, "Hey, where's the GC on the job?" And she was like, "Well, how can I help you?" And they were like, "Well, no, I got to ask the GC." And she was like, "All right, well, you go do that." And so the dude like wandered around for like an hour asking everybody where the GC was and who he should ask the question to. And everyone kept being like, "Her, like, you need to go find her." And so he finally comes back and is like, "Oh, sorry. So I guess I was supposed to ask you." Like, right? Like, how dumb do you feel after wasting an hour, like trying to find this person that you were at? And they were like, "Well, yeah, how can I, she shouldn't have to acknowledge that, like, yes, I'm the GC. It's okay. Yes. Like what is it that you need? Right. You happen to ask the right person. So now I'm going to answer your question.
Right. I mean, I've been called the homeowner, like is the homeowner on the job site. I've been called a painter, which no offense to painters at all, but they just pick the most delicate job that I could possibly do. And that's where they fit me in that category. And I'm sick of it. I prove my point by the work that I do, but I don't feel like I should have to after a while. And luckily, I work with like great teams of mostly guys now that all know me. They all respect me. They all know what I'm capable of doing. I know what they're capable of doing. It should just be an equal playing field. That's all we really want.
I agree. I think that there's been a couple conversations I've had lately, and I've had just over my time having these conversations, in that I support the women's groups that are going on, the women in tile, women in the flooring business, all these different things that are developing. I support them. I'm all for women wanting to empower other women. I'm for them wanting to have a space where they can go and talk, because there are things that men just aren't going to get, and you want to go and have those conversations amongst yourselves because it relates only to you. I get that. What these groups aren't doing, and what I wouldn't stand for, is that if they were there to just be like, we're the best and we just need us to be able to be successful, like, that's not what any of them, the ones that I'm involved with, aren't doing, right? It's not just to create a safe space for you. It's to elevate your position and find ways to work collaboratively with everyone else. And that I'm all for. And so I like seeing the changes. I like that you have these things going on. I like that people are bringing attention to it. What I don't want to happen is that everyone starts thinking, oh, well, they're just getting bitchy and they want this or that. Like, no, they're here and they just want the same respect. And when you come in, and like you said, right, you've shown them you can do it. And I think that's the biggest thing is, if you were all showing up to job sites, and this was talked about in an interview, I don't think it came out yet. It comes out soon. Julie Howell was talking, like, she doesn't go to the job site and show up with lipstick on and she's not all dolled up when she shows up to a commercial job site. It's inappropriate, right? You're not there to catch a man. If that's what you were doing, then yes, I can understand the frustration from guys and giving you a hard time. But all of you are probably showing up dressed appropriately to be able to go install a shower, or for the retail store, whatever it is that you're doing for an estimate consultation. And you're showing up in the appropriate look. You're not there trying to find a man. You're not there just doing it to do it. You've learned the craft. You can do the trade at a high level. You know the technical talk. You understand the standards and guidelines, and you follow them, and you can competently complete everything. There's no reason not to respect you. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't, but apparently there's some hang up that people have to where it's intimidating, or it's absurd that you can do it. I don't know what it is, but it's gotta stop. And they've earned the right to be here.
The type of people that are worried about that stuff are the same type that will, no matter what you wear, it's inappropriate. Like, those aren't steel toes and those aren't Carhartt pants and blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't dress right. And I've worn makeup while I was tiling before. And some days, like I said, I look like total shit. Like, I could be in sweats and look like I shouldn't have left my house, and totally unprofessional. If I know just a couple guys on like an empty house builder there, like, I can look homeless. And the next week I might have mascara and stuff on because I felt like putting it on that day. But a lot of people, same thing it shows. I wondered that because sometimes I'm dressed up because I have a meeting earlier that day. So I've tried to like figure it out. Like, am I not dressing like an installer? And then like going back and forth. But I'm like, I seem to get it no matter how you're dressed. You know what I mean? I think that's a good excuse for a lot of guys not to get off track, especially in the groups. Like, it's such a load of crap.
How can she lay tile in leggings and hey dudes?
Yeah, I remember that was the first time actually I ever saw Ashley online, and I friended her that day. She had this sped up video of her doing this tub surround, and bam, boom, 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 boom. And the comments, a lot of people were like, that's super cool. That's cool. And then the guys who hate girls that dress so provocative or, have a problem with what they wear were like, hey, can you slow the video down? And what did you say?
I said something like, "Don't you guys have daughters, or don't you don't you know how creepy this feels? Like I feel like cringe, like something's something's crawling under my skin or something." And then I also said like, "Oh yeah," the one guy's like, "Can you slow it down?" I'm like, "What? So that you can learn more about how to install tile?"
I think that's the comment. I was like, "Ooh, friend request."
This video is too fast. I can't understand. I can't see what she's doing. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. At some point, I just start ignoring people like that. Look, if you want to, I'm about progress and moving into the future. And if you don't want to move into the future with me, then bye-bye. Step aside.
Well, I think that's the biggest issue, right? Is we want to blame others for our actions, right? So you dress provocatively, so it's okay for me to act like a pig. No, it's my fault. Like, if you feel comfortable that way, you may not think you're dressing provocatively. That's my interpretation. That's my problem. And I have to own that. And I have to deal with the thoughts and actions that I take. So all y'all men out there, we got to step it up. Stop blaming other people for your thoughts and reactions to how people look or what they are accomplishing, right? Because I do see it and I try and call it out. Like it's really stupid, right? You get the guys posting the pictures of the scantily clad women and it's, oh, look at that grout line has got a crack in it, right? Like, no, that's not what we're trying to point out. We're pointing out like the woman and making a big deal out of it. And you're right. How many of you have wives? How many of you have daughters? And would you want them treated that way? And would you treat them that way? And if you are treating them that way, that's even worse, because what values are you reinforcing for them to go learn in the world?
I say, judge all you want, but wear your hard hat, your steel-toed boots, hike those pants up, boys. We don't need to see your ass all day. Like, you work on you when you're in complete OSHA-approved garb, workwear. Don't go more than 3 steps on your step ladder without an anchored harness. Like, you get all that shit taken care of, then you can talk about that I wore shorts in the summer.
Nailed it. There you go. Well, and that's the biggest thing, right? Like, you're not perfect. Why you got to point out everybody else's flaws? Go work on you. You got plenty. I got plenty. I know it. I freaking know it. Katie knows about some of my flaws. We'll talk about them. We get real deep sometimes. But look, I think we've definitely done a great job of bringing some attention to it. There's been lots of people that have been watching just this, so I know that people are going to listen to the episode. I hope that it makes a difference. I hope your experiences are better in the future. I'm sorry that you're having to have those. That all being said, is there anything that somebody wants to say or get out before we close this thing out?
I would like to say thank you to all my tool guys and all the manufacturers at the shows that have never made me feel that way, because I always keep ordering from you, and I really, really, truly value the relationships that I think I value them maybe a lot more than some of your other customers, because it means more when you aren't included everywhere. So really, thank you.
Nice. Ashley, Jennifer, anything?
Yeah, I'd like to say the same thing. There were a couple of tool manufacturers and reps that completely went out of their way to make me feel comfortable and welcome at that show. And so I really appreciate that. And on a positive note, Mathematic is actually going to be bringing on an apprentice, and she is a young lady. So I'm really excited about that.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now what? Now what's Jeremy going to do? He's going to have two women bossing him around all day. That's horrible. Jeremy, move to Arizona. I'll take care of you, buddy. Let them do their thing. No.
Yeah, he's like one
awesome.
hand cut man and his tile chicks.
Hey, look, I think that's great. You guys are going to do some amazing things. That's awesome that you're growing and can bring somebody on. That's all good to hear. And then to have more women in the industry, I think is great because men aren't interested. And so whether you want to be like old salty guy and tell me that women don't belong in trades and they're not built for it and at this point, I don't care who does it. Once again, if you want to identify as a potato and come install tile or flooring, like, be my guest, because I will take absolutely anybody that's young and wants to do this, because we don't have enough people coming in. So I don't care who you are. If you want to grow a passion for it and do it, I'm happy to train you. I know plenty of other people that would be happy to train you, and that's way more important, is keeping this alive. Because if we continue to lose the skilled trade, then the manufacturers are going to continue to make more and more products that are DIY friendly, easier to install, because they're not going to put themselves out of business, but we sure as hell are with the way we treat people and the way we don't operate to industry standards and guidelines and have so many flooring failures. Manufacturers will solve this problem for us, and they'll put us out of business completely. Guaranteed. They got enough money to spend on it. We don't. So if we don't want to get down with it and start training people and being open and respectful, male or female, there's not going to be anything to sit here and have conversations about, which is sad, because we all get to go in someone's home and leave a piece of ourselves behind. And if you don't feel that way, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can leave a piece of yourself behind in someone's home that you created with two hands, and they get to enjoy it for years and years to come. And it should bring them joy being able to use it, whether it's a simple floor. I don't care if it's, once again, I'm the plastic guy, right? If I put in that luxury vinyl plank floor correctly and it performs well, their kids and their dogs and everybody's going to get a ton of use out of it. It's going to make their living experience in their home more enjoyable. And they may not realize it and take it for granted, and that's okay. But when you're doing high-end woodwork, or you're doing the showers and stuff, you're being an artisan on a different level, and being able to leave that in someone's home and let them enjoy it should make a huge difference. And yet, I got to get an episode together on how to hire people, because I saw an ad the other day that literally just said, "I'm hiring, send people my way." This is what was posted on Facebook. "I'm hiring, send people my way." For what? What do you do? I don't even know if you're I'm friends with you, so you obviously are involved in flooring, tile, stone somehow, but I don't know what you do. I don't know where you are. I don't know what the pay is. I don't know what the qualifications are. I don't know what I get out of it. I have no idea. And then another one I saw was something along the same lines of, like, we're hiring over here for helpers or experienced people. For what? What do you do? What services do you offer? What does it involve? Like, you got to give me something to work with. Okay. These ladies have just given the industry a lot to work with. I hope you took notes. I didn't for once, and now I have to go through and find a lot of great clips to pull, but that's on me. There's a lot of great information in this. So the companies have an opportunity to step up. The industry has an opportunity to step up. And I'm happy to be able to give you all that platform to call them out on it, because somebody needs to. We have to get better. There's so many areas that we need to improve on. And I need to improve too. So I will try and be more aware at booths of women around me and seeing how they get treated. And I will address it in the future.
Thank you.
All right, folks, I think that's going to do it. I appreciate you tuning in. You guys are popular. You had, like, at one point there were 7 people watching on Facebook. There's 5 now. Like, it's been a consistently high number. Y'all do better than me. Apparently I should just have all the ladies on and complain about lady issues all the time. Maybe I'd get better numbers. I don't know. We're gonna have to test this theory. But
Thanks for having us, Kyle.
you're welcome. It's always
Yes,
my
thank
pleasure.
you so much.
Yes, thank you, buddy.
So that's going to do it for us this week. Go ahead and check out flooracademypod.com. I've got all kinds of fun files over there for you from my business budgeting worksheet, which will help you figure out your day rate and how to actually be profitable and maintain being able to buy a new truck, tools, trailers, all that fun stuff. There's the I can't think. Oh, the job costing worksheets over there. There's a fun interview question worksheet that goes with the interview I did with Aaron Albrecht a while back. We've got the store. Go ahead, buy a t-shirt, buy a hoodie. The show season is over, but you know what? Show season is going to come back around next year, and so go get that fanny pack. Everyone should have a Floor Academy fanny pack to carry around water at the shows because none of us drink enough, and you would be the hippest person at the show. I guarantee it. What else? Patreon.com/Floor Academy. Even $5 a month goes a long way in helping me to continue to make the show happen. It means a lot to me in being able to continue to provide this content. So any help over there is always much appreciated. I've got one last word from a sponsor, and then I've got 2 reviews that I'll read. When the highly anticipated... Whoa, nope, that's not it. When will the highly anticipated new season of Tice TV from the International Surface event be streaming in 2023? Coming this April to Tice is the premiere of the Spring's Product Celebration Series. This season will deep dive into products and services from across the flooring, stone, and tile industry, featuring impressive brands such as Shaw, One Floor, Laser Products, and more. The new season is being hosted by the iconic Lisbeth Calandrino, who has been captivating the industry and her audiences with eye-opening points, practical tips, and engaging personal stories through her industry experiences, books, and motivational speaking. Discover more at tisetv.com and follow Tice TV on Facebook for live airing alerts. All right. Y'all got to leave reviews because then I'm going to read them. So if you leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, then I'm going to read it at the end of a show, and I'm running out of reviews. So y'all better start leaving some reviews for me. I need them, folks. You gotta help me. If you're not gonna support on Patreon, at least leave a review. It's free. It'll take you 2 minutes. Just type something really nice, like Bergerson Tile and Stone. Outstanding content and great people. We need more of this. IFS Butler Lil P says, almost every topic I can relate to. The questions that are asked are exactly what I'm thinking. The hosts and guests really know what they are talking about. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for us. We'll catch you next week. And remember to learn while you earn. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.